There's something profoundly beautiful about how transformation actually works in our lives. We often think that miracles must involve dramatic external changes, perhaps healing that defies medical explanation, or circumstances that shift in impossible ways. But what if the most powerful miracles happen in a much more intimate space? What if they occur in the very way we see and understand our reality? As Chapter 1 of the text in A Course in Miracles teaches us, miracles rearrange perception and place all levels in true perspective. This simple statement contains a revolutionary understanding. Miracles don't necessarily alter the external world around us. Instead, they fundamentally shift how we perceive and relate to what's already here. Think about a moment in your life when your entire understanding of a situation changed, not because the facts changed, but because you suddenly saw those facts from a completely different angle. Maybe you realized that someone's harsh words came from their own pain rather than your inadequacy. Or perhaps you recognized that a challenging experience was actually guiding you towards something you needed to learn. In that instant of shifted perception, everything fell into its proper place. This is the transformative power of miracles working through us. They restore our vision to clarity, allowing us to see beyond the surface confusion that so often clouds our understanding. When our perception aligns with truth, we naturally begin to respond to life from a place of wisdom rather than reaction. And this shift in how we see creates ripple effects that touch every aspect of our experience. To understand how this works, we need to recognize that our experience unfolds on different levels simultaneously. There's the physical level, our bodies, our material circumstances, the tangible world we can touch and measure. There's the emotional level, where we feel joy, sadness, fear, and love. The mental level encompasses our thoughts, beliefs, and the stories we tell ourselves about what's happening. And there's the spiritual level, the deepest dimension of our being that connects us to something infinitely larger than our individual selves. Each of these levels has its own function and purpose in our human experience. The physical level allows us to interact with the world and care for our bodies. The emotional level provides the energy and color of our experience, helping us connect with others and navigate relationships. The mental level gives us the capacity to learn, plan, and make sense of our experiences. The spiritual level offers us perspective, meaning, and the deep peace that comes from knowing our true nature. When we understand these levels clearly, we can navigate life with remarkable wisdom and grace. We know when to address something practically, when to process it emotionally, when to examine our thoughts, and when to rest in the deeper spiritual truth that transcends all circumstances. This clarity prevents us from the exhaustion that comes from fighting battles on the wrong battlefield. But here's where things often go awry in our human experience. The Course teaches us that sickness comes from confusing the levels. This confusion is perhaps one of the most common sources of suffering in our lives, yet we rarely recognize it for what it is. This confusion happens in countless ways. We might give physical symptoms deep spiritual significance, interpreting every headache or bout of fatigue as a sign that we're spiritually out of alignment. Or we might try to solve spiritual emptiness through material acquisition, believing that the right job, relationship, or living situation will fill the deeper longing in our hearts. Sometimes we attempt to think our way out of grief or fear, when what we really need is to feel and process those emotions fully. Consider how often we exhaust ourselves trying to fix the wrong level of a problem. We might spend years in therapy analyzing why we feel anxious, when what we really need is to address the physical factors affecting our nervous system. Or we might pursue spiritual practices hoping to heal relationship patterns that actually require honest emotional communication and practical boundary setting. This confusion isn't a personal failing. It's a natural result of living in a culture that rarely teaches us to distinguish between these different dimensions of our experience. But recognizing this confusion is the first step toward the healing that miracles make possible. When miracles restore our perception to its natural state, healing occurs automatically. This isn't about forcing ourselves into positive thinking or denying difficult realities. Instead, it's about seeing clearly what is real and what is illusion at each level of our experience. Right perception allows us to respond appropriately to what's actually happening. If there's a physical illness, we can seek appropriate medical care without making it mean something terrible about our spiritual state. If there's emotional pain, we can feel it fully without believing it will last forever. If there are practical problems, we can address them practically without letting them shake our deeper sense of peace and well-being. This kind of healing often feels like a great relief, like setting down a heavy burden we didn't even realize we were carrying. When we stop trying to solve problems at the wrong level, we discover that solutions often appear naturally. Our energy is no longer scattered across inappropriate battles, and we can bring our full presence to what actually needs our attention. The beautiful thing about right perception is that it creates a natural harmony within ourselves and in our relationships. We begin to live what the Course calls true perspective, seeing from the highest level of understanding while honoring all levels appropriately. In true perspective, we might deal with a financial challenge by taking practical steps to improve our situation, while simultaneously not letting money worries compromise our inner peace. We might process grief fully when we lose someone we love, while also resting in the spiritual understanding that love itself can never be lost. We might take care of our physical health conscientiously, while not basing our entire sense of well-being on how our body feels on any given day. This integrated way of living doesn't require us to be perfect or to never get confused again. It simply asks us to notice when we're mixing up the levels and gently return to clarity. Like learning any new skill, it becomes more natural with practice. What's remarkable is that we don't have to create this wholeness or earn it through years of spiritual practice. True perspective reveals that wholeness is our natural state. The confusion that covers it is temporary and learned, while the health and harmony underneath is fundamental to who we are. When we stop confusing the levels, we return to this natural state automatically. It's like clearing dust from a mirror. We don't have to create the reflection, we simply remove what was obscuring it. Miracles work in exactly this way. They don't manufacture something new, they restore what was always true but had been temporarily hidden by confusion. In this natural state of wholeness, we find that we can engage fully with life at every level without losing our center. We can care deeply about outcomes while resting in the deeper truth that our essential well-being doesn't depend on any particular result. We can feel emotions intensely while knowing their temporary weather patterns in the vast sky of consciousness. We can tend to our physical needs with diligence while recognizing that our true identity transcends any physical limitation. This is the gift that miracles offer us, not an escape from human experience, but a way of moving through it with grace, wisdom, and an unshakable sense of inner peace. When we see clearly, when all levels are in their true perspective, life becomes not a problem to be solved, but a magnificent opportunity to express love in countless forms. Perhaps this understanding resonates with your own experience, or perhaps it offers a new way of looking at challenges you've been facing. Either way, consider sharing these insights with someone who might benefit from this perspective on healing and wholeness. May you find the clarity to see each level of your experience with wisdom, and may this understanding bring you the deep peace that is your natural inheritance.